for quite a while. So has definitely been very sneaky on his supports, but Nautilus, unfortunately, not very many good steal options there. As we move into the mid lane now, Pawn versus Rookie. Be curious to track the max here for Pawn especially. How many points does he need in the null sphere before he feels comfortable?
And you need that Force Pulse max as fast as possible to have any hope of counter pushing this wave against Orianna. Has those auto attacks with ramping damage. Going to see a lot of trades coming through from Rookie. Looking for a much better laning phase this time, of course, as he was completely dictated to by Pawn's LeBlanc.
And another flask here for Pawn. I wonder, I mean, I think both the champions he played, especially Cassidy in this matchup, lean themselves toward a flask. But if he does it for a third time in a row on a different champion, we might just learn something about Pawn's playstyle there. As Kakao is rotating through with Zatai. Kid and Kitty's already on top of the turret. Mako and Korra do not have very many good options here, and they're going to get dove. Mako, only level 1, gets struck by Equilibriums, and Kitty's taking the turret damage, gives first blood to Kid.
You're not even sure what he had skilled. Korra is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, now he's getting dove as well. Exhaust coming down. Does find the hot flashes away. Clearlove in the area as well, I think, trying to make the difference, but still getting chased away. Clearlove is down here, but he's only got the double buffs and can't do anything. Another kill goes over, this time to Aurelia.
They are positioning for a third tower dive. That's probably biting off a little bit more than they can chew, but already a big advantage. EDG just entering lane far too early against the 4-man jungle follow, and it's just a poor execution of the jungle follow, you'd have to say.
Absolutely, and we've seen this a couple of times where teams get to that lane too early and just get themselves dove. Korra now has to use his teleport already, the Doran's Blade. Not much help there in that situation despite all the good cost-efficient stats. Now Deft even going to meet Zatai as the wave's pushing in towards him. It will reset now and Zatai will start laning. Urgot fine in this situation, but IG already 2 kills and 1,000 gold ahead.
The only way we can decipher this insistence on lane swapping Urgot is that perhaps it's the identification of the very poor early lane for a fast swap.
Good flash burnt there by Clearlove, but Kakao coming in as well. Rex are going to have to be careful. Pornos are now under threat as well. Kakao doing good damage. That'll force the flash away, and Kakao answers pressure with pressure. That's going to force the Cassidy back.
But the scary thing is we talked about the need for Clearlove to show a lot of presence early. The mid-game power advantage is always firmly in the grasp of Rek'Sai, but Kakao has already made so much impact on this map. The jungle follow picking up the 2 assists, now blowing the flash in the mid lane. Sejuani out-jungling a Rek'Sai early bodes very well for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, it says a lot when Mako's here in the mid lane, clearing creeps for Clearlove as Pawn has been forced back. Does go back and get a blasting one, but Kakao back on an early dragon here. It's not 4 minutes, but IG will join him and they'll take the first one away once again.
It's very clear when you're talking about the fact that these are the win conditions for EDG being executed by IG, that this first 5 minutes has just been optimal by Invictus Gaming. Coming back to the Urgot, you feel like maybe he's looking to counter swap early after a tier, maybe avoid the level 1 and 2 where we do see this surprising Callistus taking over the lane and maybe pushing Urgot into a situation where he's not able to trade. It's not what we expect out of Urgot, maybe it's just kind of an explanation of his lane bullying is after a certain item spike or with enough mana, which might be difficult to navigate at level 1. But it's been consistent enough that this seems to be EDG's judgment of Urgot's laning phase.
Yeah, and they're still pushing the turret, actually. So they're going to try and do damage to the top side of the map. Kakao also continuing to clear jungle. Actually saved his smite on the dragon. Didn't use it because he wanted to get back into his jungle and keep farming away. And honestly, after the early game they've had, EDG weren't going anywhere near that dragon.
I mean, Clearlove struggled for jungle presence the early game yesterday, last time around. It's going to be the same situation here. On the Rex side, needs to make something happen. You can already see the port coming back from Deft. Going to be definitely the tier being picked up. Will it be the return to standard lanes from this minimap? The answer is yes.
Yeah, he's got a pickaxe now as well, and that's a very strong spike for Urgot early on. Callisto, we've talked about it, doesn't really itemize that well towards her 2 key items. Sure, once she gets there, looks great, but right now, it's a very clever swap from EDG, and if they can make the difference in the bottom side, they can start to claw back some of the disadvantage that's already been set upon them in the first 5 minutes.
And look, it's time for Kid's shopping trip anyway, so he could opt to maybe force the tie out of lane and return to the lane swap situation, but he might look to just 2v2 with the BF, so there is the potential for the all-in trade. Gonna have to wait and see what spell he's maxing. I believe it is the Ren, so it's not quite the PS that does have that good AD scaling for the burst trades, but burst trading might be the best way to deal with this Urgot, because in terms of sustained damage, you just can't trade with his locked-on Acid Hunters.
Yeah, and still tracking Pawn there as well, speaking of skill maxes. 2 points in the Force Pulse now, and 2 in the Null Sphere. I wonder where he'll go for that 7th point. Maybe just doing a bit of alternating between them, wants to make sure he bounces them, because again, we've noted that he does need both here to navigate the lane, but only behind by about 5-6 CS. Not too bad right now, although running a bit low on mana as Rookie starting to get more aggressive with his zoning.
Yeah, Rookie managed to zone him away from the cannon creep. got the experience but didn't get the CS and that ability. You max Null Sphere until you feel, until the pressure kind of elapses, until you start to get a little bit of lane presence, then you max the Force Pulse. So you can see that he's feeling relatively pressured, but if he has to put in more points than just the 2, definitely going to affect his skill order and that maxing out of the Force Pulse by level 9.
Yep, back down the bottom. No, Def gets nailed by a Pierce, but going to clean some creeps away. Actually, a good CS lead. Def got a lot of free time in the top side of the map. I get probably because of the dive that happened as Kakao will find Clearlove here in the jungle. Going to start chasing him down. He'll immediately tunnel out of the way and take out a ward. Kakao, again on Sejuani. It's a weird champion to see this on, but good early pressure already.
I mean, it's the result of the first 8 minutes that he feels he's strong enough to contest a Rek'Sai over just the Scuttle Crab, over the smallest of advantages. But when you have comprehensively out-jungled someone and have that pressure in the mid lane, you have the Orianna that has all the lane control over the Kassadin. These are the win conditions we expected IG to be able to act upon in Game 1 that kind of fell away as the game went on. You have to say that they've kind of left that behind and they're back on the train and trying to force Clearlove to react to the pressure from Kakao.
I think Clearlove going to donate over the blue buff. Does hit level 6 though, will Rek'Sai as Clearlove going to go back home to shop. We've got blue buffs up now for both mid laners, and we're starting to see the Force Pulse get max now after just the 2 points in the Null Sphere for Kassadin. So Pawn can start fighting back in the lane, but Rookie's still wanting to zone him out. Got a good lead as Kakao down the bottom, throws the ulti, gets Mako with a slow, but he dredgelines out from under the tornado out to safety. Very well played by Nautilus.
Excellent Nautilus mechanics, despite the fact that he's only played one other game. Clearlove's up top.
Yeah, in the top lane, the Tie going to get taken out here. Clearlove going to move in. Actually takes the kill away from Koru, who sets it up wonderfully.
But that was a massive gank on 2 sides of the rift. Of course, I thought that Clearlove was porting down bottom to provide a bit of assistance for EDG, but no, he was looking for the aggressive move up top. EDG get the successful gank. IG waste their resources. And we start to reset in terms of pressure. Suddenly, EDG able to enact this freeze in the bottom.
Yeah, EDG going to hold the wave here. Def will clear it away nicely with Mako helping out just a bit here as Dragon is back in a minute 50. So we'll see if IG can get those 2 Dragons again and set themselves up with that nice lead that they've already started, honestly. Still 1,000 gold ahead. No turrets done quite yet. Pressure starting to mount back as we pop back into the mid lane, and Pawn, here's a sheen on his Kassadin.
He does have a sheen. I have no words to describe the sheen purchase. Definitely hasn't been the standard build. It's been all about the Rod of Ages into the Athenes and the Zhonya's. Those are the 3 core items. Just a hopping mad 40% CDR, 1.2 second rift walks in the late game. Kid able to push in this lane even without the max on the PS, just because again the BF sword gives him enough AD to start to try to stop the freeze, but it's certainly much towards EDG's turret. And the moment that Mako pings 6, we're talking about wombo initiation potential from the Urgot Nautilus.
Yeah, you can tell EDG's bottom lane look to play a bit more aggressively, lock down either of the fairly squishy champions in bottom lane and try and take over the game that way. Pawn, though, I have to say on the Kassadin, if I'm going to trust anyone with something new, it's going to be Pawn. Certainly does like to mix it up from time to time, usually with champions, but this time on a trademark Kassadin, going to mix up the build as well.
I mean, it helps with his last hitting under turret, you could say. Of course, just pop that Netherblade and do quite a lot of damage, but Netherblade and the rework on that ability is one of the reasons why Kassadin became so much more popular, is that his CSing under turret got a lot better. So what the Sheen provides in this particular situation, it's hard to say. Of course, the blasting one doesn't build into the Lichbane rush. Clearlove.
Yeah, Clearlove, sorry, coming in. Great ulti there from Rookie. Disengages, but Pawn still going in. Just never stops chasing, and he gets the kill.
And the Pawn, the Sheen trade damage was definitely relevant for the burst in this situation. Maybe just a way to get an earlier power spike in terms of damage. Usually we have to wait for Kassadin to hit that level 11, 16, get the mana stacking going down, but just the Sheen, the physical damage, doing a lot of work.
Yeah, and the bad news in the bottom side for IG. Kakao is in the bottom side, but Def to Mako have already backed away, and EDG are coming for the top lane dive now as well. Clearlove's already in there. Koro tanking out the turret. Pawn going to chase him down to Ty. Can't get away from anything, and the Mega now going to get frozen. A good ult from Kakao gets the trade kill, but EGD again starting to get control of the game.
Yeah, 1-0-1 now is Kassadin. Only 10 CS behind, but has those score involvements to keep this gold lead very, very even. The Sheen does physical damage, so of course the Chalice Rush, which has now been the max from Rookie, not going to negate the damage coming through. It's just earlier damage power spikes than you'd expect, and it seems to be really exploited well by all this skirmishing, which looks to continue.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about EDG wanting to be aggressive. Rookie going to get the revisit as he gets slowed by the smite. Knocked up again, and Pawn, you just can't get away. Rookie goes down to Clearlove this time, And that's good news for EDG because Dragon's also back.
But it's crazy that they're able to play around this different item power spike. You so expect a Kassadin to play passively, be farming up to his Rod of Ages, not DPSing down and roaming at 12 minutes into the game. But this is why Pawn needs to be talked about in the same breath as the top mid laners in the world. Recognizing the situation, how it's going to be a struggle against Orianna, does something completely different. And IG in general just don't know to play around the much higher burst damage from Pawn.
And Pawn going to go in on to Kakao. Kid and Kiddies are here though as well. Tornado will knock him up. He doesn't have the hop back. Ulti back there from Kiddies as well. Teleport comes in at unnecessary and Kid's going to get himself a kill.
Okay, so they do actually make him pay for all his over-aggression and staying factor in the mid. It's still going to be the Rod of Ages coming through. Going to be a bit of a delayed timing. Zatai getting to that part of the lane where Aurelia really beats on now.
Yeah, Koro coming in, gonna get some abilities through. Does have his ulti, but doesn't plug him right into the rock face there. Kid and Kiddy's gonna push in with Pawn Rookie absent, sorry. Still able to get the turret. I guess Pawn absent too after that pressure, getting him the kill. IG get the first turret. They're maybe in position to pick up a second dragon, and all of a sudden IG starting to answer back.
A smart rotation from IG. They were fighting a freeze from Urgot. Had to respect the potential of the lock-on when you're that overextended in the lane. So this rotates to mid and picked up the mid turret, punished Kassadin for overstaying. So the rotations have actually been the smart moves here from IG, and it's been the ganking and the skirmishing by EDG. Feels like roles have reversed a little bit from game one, but smart play from IG.
EDG, though, do get the Scuttle Crab, so a bit of exclusive vision around the dragon for the next 45 seconds or so. Rookie with his things almost completed, got the two components there. Going to move in and take away the blue buff for himself. Kakao not quite in the area to help him out, but Rookie more than capable of soloing it right now. And Pawn again maybe looks to pick his up as well, but IG on the right side for Dragon if they want to go for it. But IG, honestly, they've pulled the trigger for early Dragons in both games so far in the series, but really have not aggressively followed up on the second.
Yeah, that's what you have to feel. They did have 2-0 in the first game. You can see Sejuani is positioned towards bottom. If she does Arctic Assault over, will find Maker.
Yeah, actually does there. And now Def realizes he's in trouble. Flashes the ulti once more there as Def gets a bit of poke back and forth. Quite strong on the Urgot, actually, with the Manamune plus the Brutalizer. But that might give IG just enough room to take away their second dragon.
Feels like every time Deft gets his flash up, there's the Arctic Assault into the Glacial Prison, forcing him to flash defensively and relieving pressure from Kid in terms of the 2v2 lane, let alone this dragon. Suddenly so much more risky than Test Dragon when Deft doesn't have that flash available on Urgot on a short-range carry, and they happily take it away.
Yeah, good stuff from IG. They'll go two dragons up again. Here is Clearlove. Takes away the Raptor. Rookie tries to seal it away, but is unsuccessful in that particular venture. Def continuing to take creeps away here. Again, a good lead. In fact, Jana has to be careful. Def got the lock on Kiddies. Might just get sold out here. Damage coming through. Needs one more Q, but the Fates call from Kid, saves him at just the last second.
The Fates call popping the projectile, of course, going untargetable. Feels like Flash from a few years ago, but still very, very effective in that situation. Good communication between the bottom laners. Depth charge available, but not looking for anything aggressive. Koro finally finds a little bit of individual time, and Zatai feels pressured enough to not enter lane.
Yeah, knows that Pawn and Clearlove have left to looking for the gank in the top lane once more.
Fool me once.
Yeah, we talk about Clearlove liking to over-gank lanes. Zatai not falling for the trick a second time there, but Pawn powering up, must be close to that Rod of Ages gold now as well. Koro even getting good damage onto the turret. Doesn't quite take it away, but will go back to spend a bit of money for himself. Again, EDG, now Mako now getting caught in transition. Kakao knocks him up. Orianna ball coming in. A great flash, so will secure Nautilus's safety, and IG instead get a ward.
I just really been enamored by this game so far, Pastry Time. Teams understanding win conditions and then playing around the expectations of the enemy team. You see a Kassadin versus Orianna, doesn't have the wave clear, doesn't have necessarily the wave control to be able to stay in lane very much. So he picks up a Sheen, picks up a kill, then roams top and has been looking for a lot of roam burst trades just so much earlier than you'd expect from the Kassadin, who traditionally has had that very passive laning phase. Understanding that Urgot is going to win this 2v2 matchup even after the lane swap, we see Kakao coming to bot lane, and a successful gank is one where Deft has to use his flash defensively and no longer has the same solo kill onto Kalista than he would have in a normal laning phase. Double pink wards, pretty unfortunate in that situation. Not the best use of 200 gold, but both these teams are thinking on higher levels of strategy. This is the playoffs, and both teams showing it with their performances in the first 17 minutes.
Possibly, Korra going in there. Good ulti there onto Zatai. Locks him up as well on Pawn. Of course, he's here on the top side. And Zatai, you can try and run, but it's going to be quite a long journey. Ward goes down to spot him off. Pawn blinks in once again and just takes another kill.
As Zatai was trying to buy enough time for the Mininar transformation to potentially, with the lower base stats, get a trade kill. No hope of that against a Castellan that's already hit level 11, and Zatai's frustration is showing.
Yeah, it looks not particularly happy with the situation. Starting to get camped just by Castellan at this point. Didn't even need clear love for that next little player. As Koro also gets himself the turret and gives his team a bit of gold. Mako finds Kakao on the bottom side. Def will swap him in now as well. Kitties are getting in a good ulti from Kakao. Locks him up for a second, but the Arctic Assault does not make it through the thick wall. EDG will keep chasing in. A good disengage from Kitties might keep them safe, but Rookie goes down in transition to Pawn, and EDG, they're starting to really mount pressure here as Koro hops over the side, gonna look for the dive. Def's already started it. Fate's Call used defensively to knock Koro back away. That should keep them safe, but Pawn chasing in does not overcommit, but EDG get 2 kills and possibly more.
Amazing that Kitties didn't even have to use his flash thanks to the Fate's Call. But the pathing from EDG, the contest, of course, the Urgot's going to be so much and more innately strong than the Kalista in a trade like that. Kalista's gone for laning items. Just the Bloodthirster and the Berserker Grease. No Hurricane to look for a potential Ren set and punish. And it looked like IG just need to use that Glacial Prison defensively and go back. They looked for to bite off more than they could chew, and EDG take another advantage in what is now a 2,000 gold lead for them.
And Koro and Pawn already making their way back to the top. Zatai does back away aggressively, though. I think he realizes what's going on. Whenever Castellan's missing, it seems like Zatai's the one that has to be afraid. Pawn is recalling now, though, so we'll be okay for now. But Depp gets the turret in the bottom side of the map and just gets away with a free one there.
Queerlove has been enacting Plan Tilt Zatai for many years, Pastry Time, on multiple teams. They're trying to do it again. Credit to the Zatai, has been sniffing it out a few times. But that's the funny thing, is that Kakao shows up in the bottom lane in an advantageous matchup for EDG, forces the defensive flash to come through. Suddenly Urgot has to play defensive. Suddenly Kid gets a lane. We've already mentioned Aurelia naturally will beat Gnar in the laning matchup, so EDG always send multiple resources up there. I guess the big question we'll find out is that a Gnar, with a bit of extra pressure, with more items thanks to the pressure from the team, will that be more effective than a Kalista who's been opened up resources themselves?
Well, we might have to find out soon, as Dragon is back in a minute 20 and Baron is up for the first time in the game in about 5 seconds time. Pawn has gone back. Cooldown Boots, Fiendish Codex for his next purchases there. So Pawn is definitely going a little bit off the deep end here in today's build.
Just having a look at terms of his CDR, sitting on 27.5%, so very close to 40% when he does pick up the blue buff. 40% CDR, some sort of Athenes has usually been the build. Probably still going to be the Athenes here, but CDR boots, more roaming, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, again, aggressive as far as the build goes, a bit different. I wonder what that Ching will become. If anything, might have even just have been a mid-game item, would be a stroke of genius if that was the case here for Pawn. Again, have to trust him on Castellan builds. And we look down the bottom for Deft as well. He's already got 2.5 offensive items. Okay, still needs the transformation on his Man Immune, but Last Whisper done. And he's kept a healthy 40 or 50 CS lead in that bottom side of the map.
I mean, it's to be expected. This is definitely the matchup that's come through. Even with the lane top, the fact that they entered lane fairly even, able to just freeze the lane, and whenever the freeze happens, Kalista has to leave lane. One time that was super successful when they roamed mid and took that turret from Pawn. But now when she's trying to come bottom, just getting consistently zoned, and there's just nothing Janna can do. No sustain available on Janna. Honestly, no sustain really matches up to Urgot, other than everyone's favorite 2011 counterpick Soraka, which, you know, if we keep seeing Urgot, might need to come back into the meta.
Once upon a time was one of the best Urgot lanes as well, but sadly, that he no longer works the same way.
Against Urgot, of course, used to give a big burst of heal and armor, which meant that the lock-on trays didn't do much. Now the armor's not there, but it's so much consistent healing on such a short cooldown that it's still very effective against Urgot.
EDG is shredding through this dragon, by the way. Deft even turns around, maybe looks for initiation. Pawn's already on top of Kitties, who takes a massive chunk of damage from Castellan, and IG cannot fight, just being zoned by Pawn at this stage, and EDG casually claim their first dragon.
And it's on for the objective swap here. Ko's pushed in the minion wave, but Orianna should react. They want to swap turrets after picking up the dragon.
This is a good swap for EDG there. If they can get the mid turret as well, maybe even look for a dive. Zatai does have his teleport and takes out the top turret, so can be there at a moment's notice. EDG certainly overshoots in the siege. Flash initiate onto Rookie, who comes in as well, but the ulti's massive there for the disengage. as they both move in, but Pawn still diving in. Deft actually in the back going on to Rookie, but can't quite finish him off. Now a 5v4 here. Good boomerang to get a couple of slows. Rookie there will get back away. It's sort of a 4v4 right now, but EDG have to back away. IG might even keep pushing.
Deft was in a hopelessly poor position. Kakao re-initiates, but he's on his own.
Hyper aggressive there for Kakao, forced to flash away. Now Pawn feels comfortable to re-engage, gets the first kill, has to get out. Those clear left dives back in, but Koro, massive Gnarlty as Cassidy gets a double. Zatai's going to get kited to death here as well on Aurelia. A clear left gets the other kill. I thought Deft had gone too far, but EDG answered with a 3-1 trade.
And I guess we have to remember is that Deft is not the only source of consistent damage. Even Rek'Sai pumping out the damage. The hyper procs coming through from Gnar. Cassidy has so much consistent damage, especially with a Sheen. Getting that Sheen trade on consistently in a fight now that he basically procs it whenever it's available. Deft out of the lineup definitely doesn't take away from the damage on EDG compared to a standard AD carry lineup.
No, and as always with Deft, whatever AD carry champion he plays, he seems to be able to eke out more damage than anyone else. No exception here on his Urgot either. But if we want to talk about like magnitude of carry potential, I think Cassidy's probably the scariest member on EDG. And again, this Sheen has just come for so much mid-game damage. So when EDG wanted to fight aggressively with Clear Love Snowball Warmogs, with the Urgot that can be strong and initiate fights, they've just looked wonderful with some weird scaling that have somehow managed to dance their way around.
I just love the fact that he just picks up a Sheen. No rush to turn it into another item. Speaking of rush, Koro wants to get out, but...
no ulti here is going to make it tricky. Kid hopping around the wall there. Koro going to live for a while in Mega Knife Bomb, but Kid will get the kill with Ren.
They're definitely punishing that situation, but this is the EDG way. They've already pinged onto Baron.
They're already on top of it as well. They have the pink wards down on everything. Baron getting shredded now as the tie. He is in the area. Rookie there as well with his ultimate available. They might be able to make something of it. The tie already getting grabbed by the Dredge line. Knocked up by the Nort and the Rek'Sai there coming through, and Rookie goes back in. Okay, they don't give away the Baron, but EDG just get the pick off.
Honestly, they get a bit of a reprieve there, EDG, because you could just see the world's biggest shockwave coming out from Rookie with the magic resist debuff coming through from the Baron. It would have been huge damage with the fight continuing.
Yeah, Kakao's been slowed. They're going to get swapped back as well by Deft, who's now in the front line going on to Kitty's Pawn. Picks him off as Kakao still taking damage here from Clear Love. Mostly Shockwave lands into Peel for Kakao, but Deft unrelenting in his pressure takes out Rookie. Koro hopping in with the home guard boots as well going in, and EDG waited just enough to get themselves 4 kills on their back straight onto Baron.
The Cassidy has once again come up trumps, just carried them into the semi-finals in that big 5th game victory, and Pawn's got his carry boots on again. The Sheen is just a masterstroke, and you've noticed that in both those games it's Rek'Sai Cassidy. The big thing to consider there is you've got so many flexible options. Rek'Sai is such a great side wave ganker, so we saw the gank sword come through, and that's the surrender.
Yeah, that was Koro ulting the wall there for a good reason. IG have tapped the mat and surrendered here in the second game to give EDG a 2-0 lead.